What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got another big reveal for the Duelist pack, Duelist of the Abyss. We have the final MARINCESS card to be shown here. It is a Link-3. I told y'all it made the most sense to me that it was going to be either a Link-2 or a Link-3. We end up seeing the Link-3 here. I'm all about it. Let's get into this thing. Okay, so here we have MARINCESS Coral Triangle. She is a Water Cyberse Link-3 effect monster, 1500 attack, kind of low, actually really low for a Link-3. But she points up and she points down left and down right, as well as having materials of any two MARINCESS monsters. Kind of interesting here. This doesn't take any water monsters, so that does actually change the way that you do need to go through some of the combos. But still, you know, it's a MARINCESS deck, it's fine. And then anyway, you can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters a turn you activate this effect. There's either of this card's effects except waters, not a problem. The deck is really only using waters anyway. And here we go. The first effect reads, you can send one water monster from your hand to the graveyard as cost to add one MARINCESS trap from your deck to your hand. Ooh. Second effect, if only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard as cost to special summon any number of water link monsters from your graveyard whose total link ratings equal 3. Okay, so really cool stuff. Let's start off with that first effect. Of course, this is really, really solid. We actually have a legit trap searcher now. We have Sea Angel, which gets us our spells, but now we actually have a card that gets us a hold of our traps should we ever want them. Just pretty nice. The only thing I would really complain, I don't know, I guess, okay, here's what I would complain about this at all, if anything. One, it doesn't just search. You do have to give up a monster in hand, unfortunately, to get that search, but it's a 1-for-1 and it gets you disruption. That's one of the biggest problems with the deck is like the deck sometimes doesn't do the best job at just setting up multiple interruptions by itself. You kind of end on a sticky situation with like hopefully hand traps or something in hand, but this does a better job at like via your engine getting you 2 interruptions, which I will take. Secondly, adding any trap. Okay, so here's the only other thing I would say with that effect is, unfortunately, out of this wave of support, we got 2 new trap cards. Neither of them are that great, to be honest. I wish there would have been one more really good trap, kind of like how Salamangrates have Rage and Roar. We have Wave, but I kind of wish we had gotten one other decent trap to kind of pair with Wave. That would have made this card much better in my eyes to give you a little bit of extra versatility in what you can search, because realistically, in a competitive build, I don't think you're playing another MARINCESS trap outside of Wave. I don't think it really makes much sense. So, yeah, it would have been nice to get one more MARINCESS trap that could have been giving us a little more versatility in how we could disrupt the opponent, but we'll still take it. Just getting access to Wave is still really good. And also, Wave's not even a once per turn, so you know, you could even have a Wave in hand and still say, you know what, screw it, let me grab a second Wave. Not once per turn. You recycle them so easily. You just want to get them in rotation. That could still get the job done. And then for the second effect's just icing on the cake. You obviously don't really want to be ending on this monster, I would assume, because only 1500 attack. This monster is pretty damn easy just to walk over. And of course, if they walk over it, then your MARINCESS Wave is kind of like dead if you searched it. So usually you want to use this as a stepping stone, I would assume. But it's really cool because if your opponent does break through your board, maybe you end on the Towers play, maybe you don't, but if they clear your board, you're actually able to just use this engrave on the next turn, assuming your opponent has any monsters on the field, to summon back like what, a Coral and a Coral and enemy plus one of the Link 1s, and then Coral can revive something from grave, and you just like immediately, without normal summoning, without anything, you already have 4 Link materials, maybe even more than that if you were like summoning back with Coral, like maybe a blue Tang you had in grave or something to get an extra dump and an extra excavation when it's linked off. Like, yeah, this effect's actually really, really strong, and I do think this is going to be one of those effects where your opponent's going to be like, I cannot let that be live. I do not, or they have to make sure they have like a ghost spell or something nasty to like try and stop this, because if they don't, like, they're gonna be in trouble, legit. So really, really cool. I think this is a solid one of in the extra deck, just helping us get access to the traps in certain hands. If we're not going to go through a Bahamut Toad play, and maybe we're still on our way up like through a MARINCESS line that gets us to like the new girl, Argonaut, to end on a spell and trap negate. Why not go up through her on the way and also search ourselves a wave? Because wave plus Argonaut as a towers is pretty good. You've got a spell and trap negate, you've got a monster negate, and she is a towers, and wave is also going to like give her an additional level of protection on top of that. That's actually pretty decent. And of course, usually those combos result in you still having a follow-up in hand anyway. So really solid. Really rounding out the MARINCESS support here. I think they did a good job. I wouldn't say they did a great job, because I would say the one glaring thing to me again is the trap card. If we had just gotten one more additional like decent trap, it could have been like the weakest removal we've ever seen, right? Target, if you control a MARINCESS Link monster, target a monster your opponent controls, destroy it. They wouldn't even have to give it the additional bonus effects of like, oh, if you control a Link-3 or higher, you can activate it from the hand, and like, oh, it makes stuff towers till the end of the turn. You wouldn't even have to give it any of those bonus effects. It was just like a super weak, simple removal. I would have been happy, but I do think that's going to end up being one of the weaknesses to the deck, although I do still think the deck is actually in a pretty good position. So all things through there, I think was probably like an 8 out of 10 total for like the overall support. Really solid one-off to add to the new support. I'm with it. I think MARINCESS is legitimately a good deck. Is it tier 1? Probably not, but I do think it's one of those. I think it's like better than Salamangreats. In that range of Salamangreats, but I do think it's probably a little better, if that gives you an idea of where I think they'll end up here. But really cool. Cannot wait to mess around with it. Probably you'll have a video coming somewhat soon, maybe showing off some combos with the new stuff, of what like you can expect from the deck, what kind of payoffs you can actually get with 1 and 2 card combos, because the deck gets... Guys, the payoff for like 1 and 2 card combos in this deck now are like insane. But I can't wait to show you that. I will obviously bring you that when I can. But that's going to do it for me here today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! New card reveals from your boy. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.